So hopefully you can see the headlight pattern there against those bushes. It's basically a cutoff line. There's a lot of parking lot lights right now. But you can see, hopefully, there's a little bit of a dip for the oncoming traffic. But it's basically a line. It's about 3 feet off the ground from my, just estimation. So it's about, in line with the height of the vehicle, I guess, which is, we'll find out how good it is, because it's good to have a higher up headlight, but at the same time, you don't want it blinding other people. So we'll see how that goes. Also, it has automatic high beams, which we'll go ahead and turn that on. There we go. So far I hadn't had a problem, but sometimes the automatic high beams, most vehicles have issues with them. So yeah, those low beams look awfully high as far as shining in people's faces and stuff, but we'll see. So yeah, look, the actual cutoff is higher on the sides than there on the oncoming lane. There's a little bit of a dip, and as you go further out, the bigger the dip is, basically, on that oncoming lane. So you can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to point out unless you're aiming the vehicle down on the road, but so yeah, that kind of gives it the illusion that it's a little bit too high. And it might be a little bit too high there on the sides, but, we'll see if it potentially causes a problem. So far, it looks fine. It looks okay. And with the 2 projectors on each side, and then you add the reflector for the high beams, there's 3 lights on each side. So the overlap and the evenness on the road should be pretty decent, especially with the combination of projector and reflector. Let me pull off to the side of the road here for a second and wait for these cars to pass. All right. Okay. So now we're in a dark area, and man, we can see pretty good. There is a little bit of a patchiness to the lights, and when the fog lights turn off, it's a little bit close to the vehicle is kind of dark. But see what it looks like again right in here. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. It projects down. I can see those trees in the distance, and the low beams are still really good. So it maintains the visibility even on the low beams there on the sides. So yeah, right in there, we can see those trees in the distance, and it projects down the road nicely, and it's fairly evenly lit. Yeah, it's fairly evenly lit. That there's still that little bit of a patch of darkness area on the oncoming lane, just because that's still there. It's just adding with the high beams. Also, we have a decent height off the ground, so we can project the light further down. We're not the variations in height of the road doesn't affect the visibility as much, because your eyes are higher than the actual headlights. So sometimes you cast shadows and stuff with the vehicle that's low, but this one's high up, so we can see pretty good. Now, these aren't super impressive headlights, but they are definitely good. They're They're good headlights, in my opinion. And the thing about LEDs that some people get mixed up. They're not actually that much brighter typically than a halogen. Certainly not brighter than a HID, high intensity discharge bulbs. But they're just whiter, so that whiter light can give you better visibility. It's just, but it's easily mistaken as brighter. I mean, a lot of halogens are not that bright, so it depends on the brightness. You can get very bright halogens, but they're just not white. They have like a yellowish color because they're relying on heating up metal to provide a light instead of an LED, which is a diode, light emitting diode, which you can control the hue and the hue and the color and everything very precisely with LEDs. So far, the automatic high beams are working well, which I'm glad to see. Some vehicles, the automatic high beams will flash other cars and stuff. Especially if the oncoming car has like one headlight out, or if they have kind of dim headlights. Sometimes I've had vehicles where, and I hadn't been able to catch it on camera, but it'll have low beams on, and then the car will get really close, and then like right up at the worst moment, it'll switch to high beams and just fry their eyes. Because it's not picking up the headlights as headlights, or picking them up as reflections or something else. So yeah, the automatic high beams are sometimes problematic, but this vehicle so far has been good.